पवनपुरेश भागवताष्टकम्। गुरुरूपेण यो नित्यं शरीरे वायुमन्दिरे विराजते स्वयं ज्योतिः गुरुवातपतिं भजे। जन्माद्या षडिमे भावाः यस्मिन् नास्ति चिदात्मके तेने वेदांश्च यः कस्मै गुरुवाताधिपं भजे। अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्यां सर्वावस्थासु सर्वदा अर्थेष्वभिज्ञं जानन्ति स्वप्रकाशतनुं भजे। मुह्यन्ति सूरयोऽप्यस्मिन् चिन्वन्तो जलमूषरे दृश्ये द्रष्टारमिच्छन्तः तमन्तर्ज्योतिराश्रये। सुषुप्तिस्वप्नजाग्रद्भिः मायावृत्तिभिरन्वहम् त्रिसर्गो दृश्यते यस्मिन् नारायणमहं भजे। स्वधाम्ना स्वप्रकाशेन अर्थेष्वेकचिदात्मकम् व्यावृत्तास्वनुवृत्तं तं श्रीपतिं गुरुमाश्रये। सन्मात्रं निर्मलं शुद्धं अनावृतमकल्मषं गुरुमारुतवन्द्यं तं स्वात्मज्योतिरुपास्महे। ब्रह्मणे दर्शितं पूर्वं ब्रह्मपारीक्षितं परं श्रूयते मन्दिरे यस्य वेदमूर्तिमहं भजे। श्रूयते मन्दिरे यस्य वेदमूर्तिमहं भजे।
यस्यान्तन्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नाम गोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णा न भवति पुरुषो नानपुंसं न च स्त्रीं नाकारं नो विकारं न हि जनिमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं तत्त्वं नो तत्त्वमेकं सहजसमरसं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। मौनव्याख्या प्रकटितपरब्रह्मतत्त्वं युवानं वर्षिष्ठान्ते वसदृषिगणैरावृतं ब्रह्मनिष्ठैः आचार्येन्द्रं करकलितचिन्मुद्रमानन्दरूपं स्वात्मा रामं मुदितवदनं दक्षिणामूर्तिमीडे। अपारसच्चित्सुखवारिराशेः यस्योर्मिमात्रं भुवनं समस्तं गुहाहितं तं रमणं गभीरं चिन्ताविहीनं हृदि चिन्तयामि। देहं मृण्मयवज्जडात्मकमहं बुद्धिर्न तस्यास्त्यतो नाहं तत्तदभावसुप्तिसमये सिद्धात्मसद्भावतः। कोऽहं भावयुतः कुतो वरधियां दृष्ट्वात्मनिष्ठात्मनां सोऽहं स्फूर्तितया अरुणाचलशिवः पूर्णो विभाति स्वयं। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्रा येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः। प्रपन्नपारिजातायां स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्। This year we have to start Bhagavad Gita from the 52nd verse of Sankhya Yoga, second chapter. And it is one of the most profound portion of Gita, where it deals with all of us have that goal, the goal of Sthita Prajna. One who has his spiritual experience unflickering, steady. It's not that simply when you meditate your mind becomes quiet, and when you come out of it, again there is a chaos. When you meditate, you are, for many, it is like when you meditate, you are in a garden, in a forest. The moment you wake up, it is like traffic jam. In the beginning, of course, even while meditating, it is like that. Constant cerebration. So naturally, every spiritual seeker longs to attain that state where there is peace which cannot be disturbed. You feel the wholeness, fulfilled. Such a holy person is worshipped everywhere, because you cannot see, there is one couplet, one doha of Kabir, where Kabir says, you cannot hide a realized person. It is not that simply when he is in India, or when he is born as a Hindu, he is worshipped. No. Wherever such an illumined being comes, you might not name it as realization or Sthita Prajna. But it is certain that you cannot miss a Buddha, you cannot miss a Ramana Maharshi, you cannot miss a Shankaracharya. Even mild saintliness you cannot miss. You cannot hide it. Wherever you hide, it will come out. There is one anecdote about Tukaram, the great Maharashtrian saint. He constantly used to chant Ramakrishna Hari, Ramakrishna Hari. There was, of course, in every story there will be somebody who is opposing that saint. Somebody asked, is it necessary that there must be someone who is opposing a saint or a spiritual seeker in every story? I told him, it's perhaps understatement that not one person, many will be there. So in Tukaram's story, he used to chant Ramakrishna Hari. That was his mantra. And a real mantra means your every cell throbs with it. Your whole body reverberates with that mood, that spiritual state. Mantra is not a word, a mere sound, it is a state. So he was chanting Ramakrishna Hari constantly, and that mantra was like a spiritual tablet, something which constantly shines forth in his heart, throbs with that bhava, that spiritual mood throbs. So he could never stop it. Actually, he did not get mantra directly from an outer guru. In Tukaram's story, a great saint appeared in his dream and initiated him. You have to say the mantra was breathed into his being. It was not like simply verbal upadesha. So it was just became a part and parcel of his body, mind. So constantly we will be chanting Ramakrishna Hari. And this story is narrated by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. And one day he was cleaning himself. He was in the toilet. And Ramakrishna Hari was throbbing. And one scholar saw that, caught hold of him and said, Tukaram, what are you doing? This is blasphemy. This is not bhakti. You are chanting Ramakrishna Hari while in toilet. And Tukaram felt, he didn't argue. Because he is not an intellectual, he is a pure bhakta. So he didn't say some logic, some spiritual teaching to him. He just closed his mouth because somebody who knows, a Brahmana is saying that I should obey. So he just closed his mouth, and the story goes, through every pore of his body, through every cell, that mantra was coming out. It is just like you put on a siren and try to close it with a cloth, like that. So the mantra was Ramakrishna Hari was exploding through his entire body, through every cell. It was coming out. So I don't know why I remembered this story in the beginning of this Sthita Prajna Lakshana talk. Because when spiritual experience becomes one with you, it is not that you are doing some spiritual practice. As long as you are doing, that habit of doing will be constantly there. That vritti will be there. Kartavya vritti will be there. The doership will be there. But when something happens in you like your breath, that is outwardly to know that like breath, then you are not doing anything. It is the nature. more deeper. Even breath, there is a gap. It comes, it goes. There is a gap. You can close your nostrils, put yourself in pranayama and stop it for some time. But your own beingness, your own existence, your own astitva, you cannot cover. You cannot cover it with anything. Neither we think that because of body consciousness we have forgotten the self. But it is impossible. Only it is an appearance that body is covering the self. Body cannot cover the self. Even the body is recognized because you exist as pure beingness, consciousness. And the mind also cannot cover the self. The mind also works because there is that illumining light behind it. All our practices doing is in the physical level or the mental level. Everything will happen and slowly it will die away. Any spiritual practice, any emotion, however high it might be, it will come and it will go. There is no emotion that will stay with you. There is no action that can stay with you. There is no physical state or mental state or intellectual state that can stay with you. We can just imagine that it has come now, stays. No, it will not stay, it will not abide. The consciousness, your own existence, is not something which comes or which goes. And that is the light which illumines everything. Whether you are ignorant, whether you are knowledgeable, whether you are suffering, whether you are enjoying, everything is illumined by that light. The knower, the awareness. And that awareness, in pure Vedantic language, we call it as Chit. Pure awareness as Chit. And that Chit is the self-effulgent awareness that is also called as Prajna. As illumined awareness, it is called Prajna. The Upanishad says, what is Brahman? You ask the Upanishad says, Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman is pure, unconditioned awareness. Awareness devoid of all the names and forms, awareness devoid of thoughts, awareness devoid of the ego, individual sense, awareness devoid of body, mind, world. It is unadulterated, incorruptible, pure experience, Anubhuti Swarupa. As Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says in Upadesha Saram, Sattvabhasika chitkvavetara Sattayahi chit chittayahi aham. You need no light other than your own existence, because the existence, that Sat, is Chit. It is awareness. And that Chit is Aham. It is within you as Aham, as I, as I. It shines forth as the I am. That is the only light. That I am is the light. It is the mudra of the self. It expresses itself as aham, aham, aham. It is Shiva. Even Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, I am that aham. Aham atma gudhakesha sarva bhutashaya sthitaha. I am the self in every heart, in every bosom. And to know that self, you get a glimpse like this, like a lightning in the sky. You go on constantly reflecting, constantly inquiring, who am I? What is this I? What is the nature of this, my own existence, which throbs within me as I? It is not the body, it is not the mind, it is not the intellect. You just hold on to that subtle ray of consciousness within you. And one day you find all the covering, all the veiling is gone. It is as if you are experiencing infinitude for a moment. That prajnanam reveals itself in your heart. We call it as samadhi. Here Arjuna is going to ask that question. That samadhi, samadhistha, one who abides in samadhi. You get a glimpse of yourself. In Vedanta we call it as nididhyasanaja siddhi. You are doing nididhyasana and you get a glimpse of it. It's like you go on striking a matchstick, suddenly it gets aflame. Like that, inwardly you experience your beingness, but it comes and goes. You feel you have got it, and suddenly after some time the mind cloud comes and covers it. Many will come to Tiruvannamalai, they will sit in Bhagavan Samadhi or have some kind of spiritual experience in the presence of a mighty master. And they will think they have got it. Intellectually they will be crystal clear. After some time, you find the whole thing has disappeared. They have recollection of it. They have remembrance of that experience. And you know that is a deeply painful state. That is what viraha, Meera calls it viraha vyatha kakko kahe sajani. Meera, in one of your songs, she says, I can tell about everything, but my dear friend, to whom will I narrate this deep suffering, misery, pain of viraha? Separation from the Lord, separation from Krishna. Viraha vyatha kakko kaho sajani. To whom shall I narrate? Who will understand it? That kind of state, So, once you take a dip into that state of samadhi and come out, then comes that deep longing, deep real pain. Before that you don't understand. But the very beginning of spiritual life happens because of a glimpse of that state. Somewhere in your deepermost being, you have a whiff of that anubhuti. You just have a fragrance of it, you get it. And then you are seeking. The seeking happens. You cannot stop. Irresistible pull. It's like an iron piece rushing towards a magnet. Like that, you go to satsanga, you go to spiritual teaching, you go to spiritual books, you start meditating, doing japa, self-inquiry. Everything happens because the magnet has started pulling you. We are, having this communion, this satsanga here in Arunachala. Actually, this has to happen in Bangalore. So everything is happening in Arunachala now. So here, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi has called this Arunachala as the greatest magnet. And we are all like small iron drops, iron filings. And Bhagavan says in one of his songs, like magnet pulling the iron filings, Arunachala, you pull me and make me one with you. Kantam irumbu pol kavarndu enai vidamal kalandu enodi iruppai Arunachala. There is a difference in this. Usually this magnet pulls, but the iron piece will go and stick itself to the magnet, but it is not inseparable. Although it rushes there and gets stuck with the magnet, it will not become one with the magnet. But here, Kalandi enodiruppaya Arunachala. As Bhagavan says, you just get like the river merging in the sea. The river goes and merges with the sea, and you can no more call it as Ganga, you can no more call it as Kaveri, you can no more call it as Narmada. It just becomes the ocean. Like that, I become one with you, O Lord. So that is that state where there is no more Jiva Bhava, no more ego, no more individual sense. Always, everywhere. That is the state. That is the word that is used. Sarvatra sarvada. Yat syad sarvatra sarvada. The experience that which stays with you everywhere, always. Wherever you are. It is not that simply when you are in Tiruvannamalai it is there. No. It is not that you are in Rishikesh it is there. No. Wherever you are the self. You are Brahman. Your Brahmanubhuti never gets affected by the outer situation. It never gets affected by events. Events will come. By your realization, events will not stop. It will not get affected by individuals. Individuals will come. It will not stop. It will not get affected by emotions. Emotions will happen. Some problem, some disease, some good thing, some bad thing, constantly it is a programmed affair. Something will be going on and on and on in this film. If you take it real, you are in delusion. Moha. The whole purpose of this satsanga is to remove moha, delusion. As Shankaracharya says, satsangatve nissangatvam. You constantly be in the company of sages, slowly, like when you churn the butter, the curd, butter gets separated. Like that, by constant abidance, contact with illumined beings, slowly the mind or your own inner awareness gets separated from the body, from the mind. And again, the delusion will be there. The world is there. Something must be done. I have to do something. Sometimes you have a glimpse of self-experience. You think, I have become Buddha. I have to transform everybody. Something will go to the head. That is also moha. Swami Ramatirtha says, he died when he was only 33. So he was staying in Tehri Garhwal in Rishikesh. And there somebody asked him, you are an illumined being, Swamiji. You have to go and work in the world and transform everyone. Then Ramatirtha Swami said, Rama is not under any delusion. He always used to call himself as Rama. Rama is not under any delusion. All missions, work are God's. No work for Rama. I don't think anybody was bold enough to declare like this. Because when I was reading it in my younger age, it was like a bombshell. You know what he said? If you take all these half-baked prophets, if you think all the Buddhas and Christs were real, were right, they should have by this time created cartloads of Buddhas and Christs. The truth is that everyone is the self. They have to find it and become free. No mission, no work, nothing to do. Leave Rama and his beloved alone. That is his statement. Let him remain in this bank of his beloved Ganga, merged in the self. And another poem he wrote, that was his last poem, he wrote, Rama don't need this body anymore. Rama is inhabiting all the bodies. In fact, the sun, the moon, the stars are all his bodies. All the planets are his bodies. He moves about, frolics in the wind. He is just streaming through the river. He blossoms in the tree. He is taking breath in human being. He is stable, steady in the rock. He takes breath in the plants, moves about in animals, and wakes up to consciousness in illumined man. He no more needs this body. Here he throws his body away. Let the whole universe take it. After writing that poem night on a Deepavali day, he just dropped his body in the Ganga. That was perhaps his destiny is like that. He was a very powerful being. So Swami Ramatirtha said this because that moha, delusion. Delusion makes us live in this world. Of course, delusion is like adding copper to gold. With pure gold, you cannot make any ornaments. So if you have to live in the world and do something, the so-called something good in this world, a little foolishness must be there. You become purely intelligent, you will just walk out. All this nonsense, go out. Just, you have found the truth. You are one with everything. You become totally free. That is the state of a Jivan Mukta. No question of world, no question of body, no question of mind, no question of individual sense. Jnanena akashakalpena, as Gaudapadacharya, Shankaracharya's guru says. Shankaracharya's guru is Govinda Bhagavatpada, his guru is Gaudapada. Gauda means that Kashmir. And Pada means the realized being, the illumined being. Bhagavan Padyate Yena. One who has realized Bhagavan, one who has become one with the truth is Pada. That is why Bhagavat Pada. Shankaracharya is called Bhagavat Pada. So Gaudapadacharya, he said, Jnanena akasha kalpena. Who is a Jivan Mukta? Is a realized saint. His jnanam is not small jnanam. No? I have found something. No. Anything that I know, I realize, is circumscribed by the I. Circumscribed it's limited by the I. So the I, this Jiva Bhava, limits everything. It conditions everything. So every knowledge that we have is a limited one. Only in a being like Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, like Buddha, we don't know Buddha. We have not seen him. It's just an idea that we have, imagination. We have seen Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, that limitlessness, that infinitude. In 1996, Ashram Bhagavan centenary of coming to Tiruvannamalai. I spoke in Ashram compound. Then I had no verse to chant about Bhagavan at that time as a dhyana shloka. Then suddenly I remembered this verse. So with this only I started the talk there. Jnanena akasha kalpena, because nothing describes Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi like this. Jnanena akasha kalpena. That jnanam, that illumination, that enlightenment, that self-experience is not limited to that body which we are worshipping. It is akasha kalpa. It's bhuma we called. Akasha kalpa means not this blueness of the sky. It means there is no otherness. See, the real akasha is not this space. The Upanishad says, what is real akasha? What you experience in deep sleep is real akasha. Edesha akasha anando nasyat. The Upanishad says, the experience of one's own beingness in deep sleep is infinite, is divisionless, is mere existence. There is neither experiencer nor the experience nor the other, no man, no woman, no God, no world. No bondage is visible there, and that state is bhuma. Yatra nanyat pashyati, nanyat shrinoti, nanyat vijanati sa bhuma. There, certainly there is knowledge is there. If we ask an unthinking person, what did you experience in deep sleep? Generally everyone will say nothing. But who experienced the nothing? And actually, is it shunya? Void? If you call it void, when you go to deep sleep, when you every day after a hard work, you go to sleep in the night. And do you think that you are going to enter void? Shunyata? Nothingness? No. There is a glimpse, a recollection of a state which is more fulfilling than anything that you can have in this waking state. In the waking state, you have the I and the experience. Delightful experience. The more delightful it is, the more I becomes powerful. I am experiencing. I. But in deep sleep, there is no I, there is no body, there is no mind, nobody experiencing anything. It's a great mystery. See, the simple thing is, you constantly contemplate on that state, you will find the truth. But if you ask, by sleeping will I realize? You will not realize. By sleeping you can become only dull, more foolish. That is why we say your experience is not lacking, recognition, knowledge is lacking, realization is lacking, right understanding is lacking. Samyak jnana, you do not have that samyak jnana. So in deep sleep, there is divisionlessness. And it is not in deep sleep, even now you are in that state. Your own existence is divisionless. Your own existence as I am is divisionless. The body is not limiting it. The mind is not limiting it. It is just a misapprehension, a delusion that this body is limiting me, this mind is limiting me. The moment you hold on to the body or mind, you will whirl in the orbit of destiny. You will take yourself as the body mind. You will take others as body mind. The will, desire, wind of destiny will just put it in the grinder of suffering. It will just grind you. It will just churn you. So the moment you stay in your self, actually there is no staying. You have to just know, just recognize, just have a paradigm shift of attention. When your whole attention is on the jnapti as awareness, prajna, existence, as aham, as I, and you know that it is akasha kalpa, it is infinite, because there is no border in it, it is boundless. Jnanena akasha kalpena, dharma anyo gaganopaman, that is a great mystery, Dharma means anything superimposed in it, like body, like mind, everything. Everything here, Gaudapada Acharya says, it is all infinite. Just like in water, you see in ocean, you see eddies, waves, bubbles, iceberg, oceanic plants, animals, creatures, fish, whale, everything is there. Actually, everything is made of water. Everything is made of water. Water only exists, but it appears as if like names and forms, these are all existing. So the entire universe with all the names and forms are nothing but Satchidananda. Dharman yoga ganopaman. There is no name, no form, no man, no woman, no animal, no bird, no deva, nothing exists. There is neither birth nor death. There's a beautiful verse in Malayalam which says, Maranavum illa, Pirappum illa, Narasuraradiyum illa, Nagalokam. There is neither Maranam, nor death, nor birth. Narasuraradiyum illa. There is no man, there is no human being. There is no Deva, no heaven. Everything that is seen is Maruvilamarna Mariji Neelu Poloru Purulam. It's just like seeing water in a mirage. You go and observe, no water there, only in the desert sand. So you see water like that. Porulalli the Kandu Poid, something like that. It's a very beautiful verse. So here, you know the truth, you know the self. Nyayabhinnena sambuddha. How do you realize it? You realize it by becoming it. See, even in deep sleep, how do you experience that state? You become one with it. You become one with the ocean and know the ocean. You are not every day going and seeing a deep sleep state. That is why when we ask, I was not there, you will say. The I was not there. The I took a dip and disappeared, and somehow mysteriously came back. But the problem is when it comes back is unaware. It is unaware. So in samadhi, it comes back with awareness. That samadhi means through shravana, manana and nididhyasana you take a dip. And you come back through the same door with the same recollection, with the same awareness that you are deep down in your core, in the crest. 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 That is made of God. That is made of deathlessness. That is made of birthlessness. That is immaculate. That is prajnanam. And when you touch it, your delusion is gone. The delusion that the world exists, the mind exists, he exists, she exists, something is happening here. See, as long as we have this affectation, this coronavirus is nothing compared to this virus of ignorance. As long as this virus of ignorance is viral, it is alive, it is very difficult. Because the world will be going on, it will be constantly affecting you. The world will affect you, people will affect you, creatures will affect you. No, why should they affect me? I have so much delight, so much. One day they will bite you. There is only one way, that is renunciation. And how to renounce? By knowing that it is not real. The world is not real. Others are not there. Nothing exists. There is only one experience, and that is one's own existence as I am. Therefore, the job is over. Rest, even your own body, your own mind, it is inscrutable. Maya means what? Inscrutable. That cannot be defined. Yukti shunya vastu prakashasya samjna maya. If you ask, all these are seen, we are feeling it, it is our life, how to deny? That is why we say vastu prakasha. It is all there, but you cannot explain. There is no rhyme or reason. Nobody has found a perfect ground to live. It is mere delusion that we have found something perfect. Now it will be no problem in living. Nobody can state that, because this is a constant flux, constant trouble. The body, nobody was perfect. Even God incarnated, he had trouble. The Krishna who taught Bhagavad Gita, so much trouble. Right from his birth, trouble. If you take Krishna's story and contemplate, it is full of tragedy. Right on his birth, first of all, he was born inside a jail. What more great tragedy can happen? Taking birth inside a jail. That too, before his birth, all his elder brothers were killed. Because he is going to take birth, so much tragedy happened. That itself is indeed enough to enter depression. All his life, Krishna, right from childhood, very depressed. Because you ask why? See, you can say you were born in Tiruvannamalai, you were born in Kerala or somewhere, very good family. My difficulty, you see, was born inside a jail, Vaikunta. I was very happy. I took birth here, I was born inside a jail, and because of me, all my elder brothers were killed. And if you ask him, who asked you to announce that I am going to take birth? That is the problem. Like, this is a lottery, Vikramantri. Tomorrow, nalagi. Who asked you to announce? So see, from that day night, even in this rain it is difficult. It was pouring down. Heavy rain. In that rain, see, Delhi, UP cold, severe cold. That child was taken out. There was no umbrella. And his former attendants were concerned. We have sent him to these bayas, this cattle rearing community, all these Yadavas. They don't know how to take care of this beautiful baby. Now we have to go and take care. And who came with so many fana? That Adishesha came, hoots, all bus poison, hoots. See, if you see that, you will get terrified. So the Vasudeva was so much surrendered to the Lord that Lord gave him the information or Adesha, instruction, take me to Gokul. That's all. See, when you get the inner voice of the Lord, if you use the logic, it will be illogical. When that inner voice told him, go out. How to go out? If you ask how and why, no answer, because he was handcuffed. All the chains were there in his hand and leg. He cannot move out. And all these bullies were standing there with all spear and sword. You cannot cross them. They are all military people. When the Lord told him, go out, put me in Gokul, and there is a little girl born there, bring her here. Vasudeva simply said yes. The moment he told yes, it was unwound. His bondage was gone. The door of the jail opened, and you see all this gods, they were all sleeping, snoring. He just walked in the rain. And there was the river was in the spate, Yamuna. He just walked. The river gave space. There is two stories, One story says the river just separated and Vasudeva walked. But another beautiful story is river was just rising. He was walking up to the knee, then up to the thigh, then up to the hip, then up to the chest, up to the neck, then it almost come to the chin. If goes up to the nose, it will be difficult. And what is the intention of Yamuna? She wanted to touch the feet of the Lord. So he was carrying Krishna in his head. And that little baby, you know what it did? Just put its small little feet out. It just came up to this, up to the lips. The water touched the lips, just came down. And the story goes, the moment Yamuna touched Krishna's body, she became black. Shankaracharya says, Murarikaya Kalima Lalama Vari Dharini Trinikrita Trivishtapa Triloka Shoka Harini. Very beautiful, That Yamuna, Yamanuja, she is called the sister of death. See, we are all like that, Constant stream of life means you have brought a death with yourself. And what did she do? Murari Kaya Kalima. That Kalima means the darkness, the color of the Lord, a contact with the divine. Lalamavari Dharini. The moment she had communion with the Lord, Trinikrita Trivishtapa, the whole world, not only this world, all other worlds became just Trina. Trina means like hay, like grass. Insignificant. See, the moment you come in contact with the Lord, Trinam Tribhuvanam. It's a statement, Trinam Tribhuvanam. Everything else is just Trinam. In a way, you don't care for anything else because you have touched God. When Vivekananda was in America, please remind me about this stream, I will just forget. Swamiji had to take help from many devotees. Many devotees used to help him. And they were in contact with him, writing in letters, everything. And so they were all helping him, introducing him with the American people, everything they were doing. But these devotees, these disciples, they are also individuals. So sometimes suddenly they will think, even with Bhagavan Ramana, many devotees they used to, Bhagavan even in his cancer, Bhagavan said, we don't need the surgery. That Bhagavan will be knowing the self, but only doctors know. So they didn't listen to him. Actually, that's a very sad side of it. So we didn't become successful also. So many used to advise Swamiji, Vivekananda. So he used to take that advice also with so much humility. He used to call a sister or some brother or some respected. You see, you can tell me, what should I do? Where should I go? What should I do? Everything he will take. Sometimes the advice will be too much, So somebody gave him that you should take only this kind of disciple, that kind of disciple. You should not go with this. Something they wrote. Then he is just like, Ramakrishna used to tell about Vivekananda, as about Naren. Say, you have to find a good horse. You touch the manes, you will not understand. You cannot recognize. You just touch the tail side of it. It will just jump. Like that, you touch the right portion of Naren, you will see the lion coming out of it. As long as you are not disturbing that point, it is okay. So this devotee wrote something, and Swamiji wrote back, said, sister, you have not understood me. You do not know the sannyasi. You have not drunk from that portion which makes the world a zero, logic nonsense, and man a god. Have drunk from that portion which makes the world a zero, logic no logic, and man god. So whoever comes to me, they are sent by him. It is he who is coming in that form. I will not go and seek disciples or devotees. When they come, they come. When they go, they go. That's all. It's all his department. So there, in the stream, Larko? Yes. So, Trinikrita Trivishtapa. That is the bhava. And unless you have that, the world is nothing. Nothing can affect. In that fearlessness, Gita, we were discussing in the 16th chapter, fearlessness, abhayam. So that is the crystal clear indication of a realized soul. So in that state, the moha is no more there. So here, Trinikrita Trivishtapa, once you attain that state, Triloka Shoka Harini, all the shoka of the three worlds are gone. For you are free of the waking, dream, deep sleep, everything. So that is a different thing. So you have Vasudeva went to Gokul, put Krishna there and brought that Maya. She took birth there as Krishna's. She comes with the Lord, She is Nidra Bhagavati Sakshat. She is the Chit Shakti. Without her, no work is possible in the world. So she was brought back. So the background of this story is, if you take Krishna's life, there is so much problem, so much misery, so much tragedy. But nobody will say there is sorrow in Krishna's life. If you take Rama's life, everybody will accept all sorrow. Because he himself is crying, weeping. But Krishna's life, you don't recognize. See, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's life, we think there is always peace, silence. Bhagavan's ashram, you go, enter there, so much peace. Those who have lived with Bhagavan, they know underneath that peace, so much war was there, so much problems were there. But nothing was visible because he was unaffected. He was unperturbed. And the time in which he was born. The Second World War, First World War, Indian freedom movement. So many problems. And people are fighting for the ashram. Everything was there. With all that around, I always used to think, we cannot say that we can remain like Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan. I will tell Bhagavan, you had enough problem, but that much problem we cannot suffer. We can have that jnana, that lamp of wisdom. With that, whatever destiny you have, you can walk the path. It is not that becoming Ramana Maharshi. There is no Ramana Maharshi. There is only the self. Somebody asked, what is Bhagavan, you? What are you? He said, I am the self inside you. Inside everybody. Inside all the devas. Everywhere. That is the experience of a realized being. So, the moha, the delusion, you have to wake up from this dream. The world is a dream. The body is a greater dream. This life is a dream. This suffering is a dream. the so-called attainment, achievement, doership, gloating over everything is a dream. The Upanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad begins, Shankaracharya says, neither desire for life nor desire for death. Ma gridhaha, gridhim ma karshihi, jivite maraneva. When you are completely disassociated with this sticking thing, what we call as Maya. Maya means everything seen is Maya. In another word, you can say darkness. Two things. One is light, the other is darkness. Your own self is light, everything else is darkness. Groping in darkness means groping in the drishya prapancha, in the seeing, the objective world. You can never make the truth objective. As Bhagavan Ramana, today morning I was reading, Bhagavan says, you are seeing with the eyes. But can you see the eyes? You cannot see the eyes. And neither can you deny the existence of eyes. Like that, the entire scene is illumined by the seer. And he is ever experienced within you as your own beingness. You don't need anything other than that to know it. Swabodhena anyabodhecha. Bodharupataya atmanaha. Na deepasya anya deepecha yatha swatma prakashane. A lamp needs no other light to illuminate. Like that, one's own existence, one's own consciousness, one's own awareness needs nothing other than it to illuminate. It is self-illumining, self-effulgent, and that is called prajnanam. But the problem is, our attention is caught in the various clouds of understanding, non-understanding, misunderstanding, doing, fear, desire. So many clouds have overtaken our attention. That is called moha. And kalilam. Kalilam means it's a kalanka. It's a dirt. So yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati. When your buddhi, when your intellect transcends this darkness of delusion, taint of delusion. This kalilam means this taint of delusion. நம்ம என்ன போட்டிருக்கோம் மீனிங் பார்க்கணும் அது kalilam. This taint of delusion. And the greatest taint of delusion is one's own existence as I. Not existence, individual sense as I, the Jiva Bhava. When you transcend, when you go beyond it, and who goes beyond? The Buddhi. The Buddhi, the intellect, it is not the brain actually. We call, naturally I put the hand here, but it is everywhere. It is the Hridayeshu Buddhi. The Shastra says the Buddhi is in the heart. So the Buddhi Vyatitarishyati, it just goes beyond, it just transcends. Sankramati. Buddhir Vyatitarishyati. Edate moha kalilam Buddhir Vyatitarishyati tada. Then Gantasi, you have reached. What have you reached? Nirvedam. No more knowing. No more doing, no more involving, no more getting mixed up with darkness. The greatest mysterious pair of darkness and light getting mixed up, Tamah prakashavad viruddha swabhavayoho. The darkness and light, they are all viruddha, conflicting things, but they become mixed up. It's a mystery. So no more that delusion. Tada, then Gantas, you have reached Nirvedam. No more involvement with the untruth. No more involvement with the falsehood. The world, the way of the world is falsehood. Dharmam bhajasva satatam. Bhagavata Mahatmya, there is a verse which says, constantly stick to dharma. And what is dharma? The knowledge of the self, knowledge of God is dharma. Everything else man-made will create conflict, create problem. You drive car in the left side of the road, you are a good person in India, but if you do it in America, you will be arrested. Yes. It's all for this comfort. So dharmam bhajasva satatam. Constantly have this Bhagavata dharma. And not the verse didn't stop there. It continues. Tyaja loka dharman. Give up your association with the worldly dharma. What the world says, what others says. Always we have the usage in Tamil. 4 people. 4 per enna solma. Always, I don't know what these 4 people, what these 4 people means. Manaha, buddhi, ahankara, chittam. These are the 4 people. They are constantly murmuring something, constantly hypnotizing you that you are the jiva, you are the bound one, you are the miserable one. Constantly, these 4 people are always there with you. One Swami used to tell, somebody said, I am studying for MBA. And that Swamiji said, everybody is MBA now. What is MBA? Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara. M stands for mind, B stands for Buddhi or brain, and A stands for arrogance or Ahankara. The mind, brain, arrogance. Not that business management, don't confuse it with it. So this is constantly there. This is a Kalilam. See, with this only we live in the world. But to true spiritual understanding, you move away from the body, from the mind, from the ego. You find a unique knowing center inside you. Something opens up. Bhagavan Ramana calls it as Hridayam, the heart center. The heart center reveals itself. It's just like you take a flight, it goes in the runway. When you are inside the aircraft, you will feel suddenly, oh, now it will take off. Some other machine start operating and the takeoff happens. Like that, in spiritual life also, you work with the body, you work with the mind, doing namaskara, doing yoga practice, concentrating with the mind, doing chanting, japa, reading, everything. And suddenly you find one day there is another thing operating inside you which tells you, go beyond it. Keep quiet. Chumma iru. You go beyond. All these 4 people are there, no more there. This loka dharma is gone. Dharmam bhajasva satatam tejaloka dharma. And the verse is, I will complete that verse which says, Sevasva sadhu purushan. Go to saints, illumined beings. Do seva to them. That seva means offering your body, mind there to just to surrender, that's all. It is not that your seva is necessary there. Jahi kama trishnam. Give up all the trishna, as Buddha calls it, the arja, the desire. Anyasya dosha guna chintanamashu muktva. Giving up all the chinta of flaws or worth, guna or dosha. Seva kathara samaho nitaram pipadtum. Do not think about the world. Constantly contemplate on the Lord and live in aloneness. This is sadhana, So this sadhana is possible only when there is no distracting element. See, once when I was in Ernakulam in Kerala, I was staying in a house where there is a lot of garden, lot of forest like place around. I felt very beautiful evening for Sandhya Vandana. I can sit and meditate under a tree. So I went there and sat, and there is a small pond also. Sat there. Very happy. After 5 minutes, I felt some lorry is coming near me. Some sound. I saw it was all covered by dark cloud of mosquitoes. Around me it is like a blanket. Then I have heard about Swami Vivekananda sitting in meditation when mosquitoes were biting. I didn't take the risk. It is very difficult, So, as long as you have these outer troubles, you pay attention to the world, pay attention to the mind, pay attention to the body. Constant trouble will be there. A state you will reach when you are ripe for illumination. You hear the master declare one word, and there you are aflame, you are effulgent, you are carrying the fire within you. One word from the master, Tattvamasi, that's all. You are the self, you are one with the truth. That happens when perfect state of nirvedam has come. Actually, scripturally, nirvedam means the state where you have gone beyond the karma kanda portion of Veda. No more karma kanda. You are no more caught by it. But before that, you have crossed the world. So nirvedam means no world, no learning, no doing, nothing. Many devotees who have come to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan not only protected them from ignorance, he protected them from knowledge also. Kunjaswami, one of Bhagavan's devotees, one day he told, yes, it is written in the book also, he said, Bhagavan, one day I told Bhagavan I will like to go to Kovilur Mutt and learn many things. Bhagavan told him, இன்னைக்கு வேதாந்தம் நாளைக்கு சித்தாந்தம் இது என்னைக்கு முடியும்? Today you want to learn Vedanta, tomorrow Siddhanta. உனக்கு இல்லை இது. Tomorrow Siddhanta, where will it come to stop? It will be constant, like hornets. It will be coming and disturbing you. What did I do? I just closed my eyes, went inside and realized the self and stayed there. Like that, every knowledge will come from the inner one. It is not that there is denying of the scriptural knowledge. Scripture is like a mirror. It reflects your inner being. So, just the teaching is learn the Upanishads from an authentic master after Nirvedam. Do not learn too many scriptures. Just if you need the knowledge. You need the knowledge. How to go inward. That's all. So, nirvedamayat. So, tathagantasi nirvedam. This nirvedam is the Upanishad, and Bhagavan is quoting that word, nirvedam. You reach that state of vairagya, immense dispassion. See, vairagyanna param sukhasya janakam pashyami vashyatmanaha. Shankaracharya says, the most happy state is the state of virakta, dispassionate, no fear at all. Till you reach that state of vairagya, fear will be constantly dogging you. Wherever you go, whatever you might be. Bhoge, rogabhayam, kule, chudibhayam, vitte, nirpalat bhayam, mane, dainya bhayam, bale, ripu bhayam, rupe, jaraya bhayam, shastre, vadi bhayam, gune, khalabhayam, kaye, kritantat bhayam, sarvam vastu bhayanvitam bhuvinrinam, vairagyameva abhayam. That one last word says vairagyameva abhayam. When you have vairagyam, you are fearless. You have crossed the border of fear, gone beyond fear. Till you have raga, fear is there. Attachment is there, raga swarupa pashadya. Maya is holding you with the noose of attachment, with the hook of attachment. So, raga swarupa pashadya. That pasha is raga. Attachment is samsara. It is suffering. So, you walk out. You go beyond it. Then you are free. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati. Your buddhi becomes completely washed. completely washed clean. No kind of this mosquitoes there in your intellect. See, the outer mosquitoes are not a problem. These mosquitoes in the intellect, Mutapuchi kena solva? Bugs. These bugs and mosquitoes in the intellect, a small ignorance, creatures of ignorance. They are there in the brain. They constantly trouble you through information, through doubt, through arrogance, through attachment, through aversion, through fear, through ego, through sleep, through dullness. Many things they can put. All kind of mosquitoes will come, bugs will come. The brain will be constantly disturbed by their humming sound. So that is gone. When you are perfectly out of the game, you just walk out. Nirvedam, no more knowing. See, you simply take the word meaning, that itself is very powerfully suggestive. It tells you no more Vedam. Vedam means what? Knowing. No more knowing. I don't want to know the world. I don't want to know what they are saying. No. See, our very nature is like that. Village people, you go to villages and something secret you have to tell, and you don't want the third person to hear. You go and speak in a corner. He will come there and put his ear at the inside and ask, what are they telling? All the bus, he wants to. So, nirvedamayat, virakta, nasti akritah kritena. By doing nothing, you can attain the whole. No amount of doing can take you there. No amount of meditation, no amount of japa, no amount of knowledge, no amount of ego movement can take you there. Be still. Then you become totally relaxed. The greatest Vishranti, we call complete relaxation, comes there. You are no more relaxing, you are relaxing. The real emperor, Samrad, Swarad Bhavati. No more doing anything, no? So here, Tada Gantasi Nirvedam, Shrotavyasya, Shrutasya, all the things that you have learned, known, they are deleted. All that are there which you can know, want to be known, the unknown. The known becomes useless, the unknown becomes useless. You are ever the unknowable, the knower, the knowingness, the awareness, which is pure, undiluted divinity. It is godliness. It is Brahman. So there is neither Shrotavya nor Shruta. No interest in knowing. See, one devotee, a simpleton, he one day asked Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, because some scholars have come to Bhagavan, they were having very strong discussion, debate on scriptures, and Bhagavan was now and then answering them. Then after they went away, this person went there and said his name was Nadesh Iyer. He asked Bhagavan, they are all very learned people, I do not know anything. Enakku onnum theriyade Bhagavan. Then Bhagavan initiated him mysteriously. What was his initiation? Bhagavan said, Theriyadunu theriyadho illiyo. Bhagavan asked him, you recognize that you do not know? That is a great recognition. Know that. No, that had some deeper experience in him perhaps. Later on he used it like a mantra. He was always used to happy, and he is one devotee who predicted his death. On the 16th day I will drop my body. And next day he said, 15th day Bhagavan will come and take me. And the 14th day Bhagavan is calling me, he will come and I will die. Just like that, on the last day before, he told Ganeshana, he told, tomorrow you come by 2:30 in the afternoon, exactly. Just like you invite for some tea party or something like that. Then Ganeshana went there. He said, Bhagavan has come to take me. Bhagavan is here. Put chair for Bhagavan, something like that. He told him, just Om. Always used to chant Om, Om. And just dropped his body. And this person, when he was in ashram, if some devotee will come and Ninga Bhagavan Patrigela, you have seen Ramana Bhagavan? Yes, yes, I have seen. Tell us something about Bhagavan. Ayye, enakku onnum theriyaduna. If you ask him, you have seen Bhagavan, tell us something about that. I do not know anything, because that was the initiation given to him. He said, I do not know anything. So, and another devotee went to him and he said, Mama, somebody is speaking so much negative things about me. Manas romba kashtamar. So much pain is there in my mind. Somebody is talking ill about me. Ayye, avanukku onnum theriyadena. Said, ayye, he doesn't know anything. He didn't know anything. He is an ignorant person. And if you go and ask, what do you tell about some person is speaking about you? If you ask him, he will tell, I do not know anything. Somebody else, he also do not know anything. And this do not know became an initiation to him. Nothing affected. Because some problem will be there, do not know. And he used to be very angry. Constantly he will get that spurt of anger. That's nature. So whenever he got angry, he will roll in the sand. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva. And one day one devotee lady, she said, why don't you go to Bhagavan and ask him some solution? Why doing all these pranks? He said, I will ask. Next time when I become angry, I will go to Bhagavan and ask. And next time when he became angry, because somebody will tell something and he got affected, he became angry. He said, now I will go and ask Bhagavan how to control this anger. See, in the presence of a great master, what to ask, even that is put in your mouth. You will not be able to ask what you think. So he went near Bhagavan. He went there to ask a solution for anger. But when he went near Bhagavan, he asked Bhagavan, shall I go for Giri Pradakshina? Going round the hill. Bhagavan said, yes, go round the hill. Then he went round the hill. After 4 hours, what anger will stay? Then it became a regular feature in his life. Whenever he will get angry, he will go round the hill. And in ashram, devotees used to say, where is Nadesh Iyer? He became angry and went round the hill. That was his regular practice. So this is a side story. So the main thing is, you reach the state of Nirveda, Vairagya, and go beyond all the ready-made knowledge. You have, as Buddha said, you are a lamp yourself. Be a lamp unto yourself. Atma Deepo Bhava. You are the light. You are the effulgence. Your own inner awareness will guide you. Atmanaha Guruhu Atmaiva. Purushasya Visheshataha. When somebody asked Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, who is your master? Atman. Atma is the Guru. Atma is the teacher. An outer Guru, a perfect reflecting media comes, he is also the Atma. He is Atma in that form. Ramana Maharshi, who is Bhagavan Ramana? He is the Atma. Who is Arunachala? He is Atma. He is the Self. Who is Shiva? Who is Vishnu? He is the Self. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma. Tasmai Shri Gurave. Guru is not a person. If you take him as a person, the Shastra says it is like taking the rope for the snake, you will get hurt. He is Brahman, he is not the body, he is not the person. That is why in one Tamil text, when the student got so much gratitude, what should I do to you, master? Master said, forget me and walk out. You have taken the teaching, now you are the self, go away. Stay with that teaching. Be that teaching. You are the light, you are the effulgence. Give up all the delusion. Moha kalilam vyatitarishyati nirvedam. Nothing to know, nothing to do, nothing to attain, nothing to achieve. Nowhere to go, no becoming. That is nirvedam. And then comes the next question about Sthira Prajna from Arjuna that we will see. One more verse is there, very beautiful. Who knows? 7 days we might speak only about this. That we will see later on. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala. Eto mamatma bhavasi tvameva tato na vachyam mama kinjidasti yatha taveshtam kurumam tathaiva tvam atmanatham ramanam bhajami.